right. Thank you very much. And welcome to the Positive Vibe. And this is a special 90-minute show, the first of many to come here on the new season of Jay's All TV channel. Of course, I'm your host, Jason DeCanio, and welcoming you back to the channel, as always, with new shows and, of course, me. And I'd like to thank, of course, our 140 subscribers who have graced us with their presence over the course of the summertime. Thank you so much for being a part of this first recording of this new show. Yep. Today is Monday, September 8th, 2025. And this is something new, as they say, according to Charles Kuralt. We're going to be looking at the positive side of life. You know, we talked so much about negative and down, and we talk down to you, and we don't want to do that no more. We want to go in a different direction. Now, everybody's saying, why? Why all of a sudden the change? We can do that because we have freedom, folks. And when we have freedom, we can do whatever we want and go in a direction. We're not trying to change you. We're not trying to psychologically make you a better person. But we're trying to get you to understand that there is more to it than just putting people down, okay? You have to understand somebody, and you have to understand where they're coming from. If you choose not to do that, that's something that's your fault, your problem, okay? That's not my problem. That's not my job as somebody to reiterate things. Okay. I'm here to do a job. Whether I get paid or not, that's not your problem either. That's not your business. Okay. I've been doing podcasts for the last 15 years, never got a dime for any podcast that I have ever done. And you can even go back and look at YouTube and see that I don't have even monetization for that reason. I don't care about monetization. I don't care about that. I care about views. I care about my subscribers. All right. Now, whether or not I have some haters that are my subscribers, hey, you're only doing yourself the worst of the worst. You're only helping me get better. So the more you complain, the better I look. And that's not helping you, is it now? Anyways, we're going to start off our show every day or every other day. We're going to be here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:30 to 8 p.m. We'll start off with the positive headlines of the weekend on Mondays, and of course, look at the positive headlines for the previous day. So when we come back to you on Wednesday, we'll look at Monday's headlines. Then today, of course, every Monday, we'll look at news of the weird. That's the thing that comes out on Friday. As you know, I'm very partial to Chuck Shepard's News of the Weird with the people at Anderson McNeil Syndication. Now, our three topics for today, of course, come from the Reader's Digest. And the first one is, and because today is the first day of regular classes for our school kids in the Northeast, we'll look at the real reason the school year doesn't start in January. Yeah, that's kind of weird, right? Why doesn't it start at the beginning of the calendar year? Well, we'll give you that information in just a little bit. And then 7 old school classes kids don't take today. Yeah, I was looking at the curriculum of my old high school, and what they taught us 30 years ago when I was still there, they ain't even touching it today. I don't even know what's going on. It seems like it's so foreign material to me. These kids have it tough, but they somehow seem to get through. Now, if you notice on the screen, I have a reflection on my glasses. That's because the screen is reflecting back on. So if you don't see my eyes, they're here. It means I would have to look down on it. I have transition lenses and progressives, plus I have bifocals. Yeah, I have a lot of things going on with my new pair of glasses, so I'm getting used to it. Anyways, getting back to the show. And, you know, why are school buses yellow? Well, here's the real reason. There's a real reason why they're yellow, and I think it has something to do with identification and markings as to where they are on the road somewhere, somehow. But that's a little bit later on in the program, and we'll look at that one later on. Of course, also we have our daily motivation of the day and any other kind of things that we can touch base on in any field we have full range of. We'll talk about art, music, literature, books. In fact, I'm reading an interesting book by Michael E. Adius called Invisible Men. Let me put this on so that way, there we go, tilt it a little bit so you can see it because it reflects off the screen. Invisible Men. I got this out of the public library, which is free. You know, in our times of toughness, as they say, saying that the economy is tough and people are struggling to make ends meet, it's always nice to go to your public library and get a book or so and read and broaden your knowledge. There's nothing wrong against it. There's no crimes, and it actually keeps you out of trouble, as they say. Invisible Men's a good book. I'm about 82 pages into it already. And it talks about men and hiding their feelings, being invisible, not opening up to the world. We need to do that more often. So why not? The Positive Vibe does it. And, of course, our ticker is on the bottom. The daily motivation of the day will be our last thing. Of course, we have commercials. We'll be back every once in a while for a break in between. And, when we do come back, we'll start off with the positive headlines for the weekend coming up in just a few minutes, right after these very important messages.
The mood is set. The lights are low. Where's the best place to buy a great stereo?
Corvettes has more of what you're looking for.
At Corvettes, you'll find more than just a couple of famous brand stereos. We've got lots, including the newest by Panasonic, Fisher, and Pioneer. You'll find the newest radios, too, from portables to digital clock radios, plus a whole host of tape recorders.
And look at these low Corvettes prices. What's the team? What's the score? I need a new TV set. What's the best store?
Corvettes has more of what you're looking for.
There's more in store for you at Corvettes. From Panasonic's battery portable TV to Sony's new electronic tuning, plus the latest video tape recorders.
And look at Corvette's low prices.
So for great values on the latest in home entertainment,
Corvettes has more of what you're looking for. There's more in store for you at Corvettes.
February, when we honor 3 great American leaders. Lincoln, Washington, and Crazy Eddie. Yes, Crazy Eddie has always been an American leader with the guaranteed lowest prices on anything and everything in home entertainment. Get it all now during Crazy Eddie's double-barrel Lincoln and Washington's birthday sale. Shop around, get the lowest sale prices you can find, then go to Crazy Eddie and he'll beat them. Crazy Eddie's double-barrel Lincoln and Washington's birthday sale going on now with prices even your forefathers would be proud of. Crazy Eddie, his prices are insane.
Every day's a sale day at Mays.
It's an Election Day sales extravaganza at Mays. Ladies save on a wide selection of sensational sportswear, dresses, maternity fashions, uniforms. Save on color TVs, TV stands, complete stereo systems, and small electric appliances. Save on triple width draw drapes, fashionable quilted bedspreads, and slipcovers. All at Mays, your family store in Manhattan, Brooklyn, Jamaica, and Glen Oaks.
Every day's a sale day at Mays.
It's you, Harry. For a minute there, you startled me.
I got some pizza.
Pizza? Harry, I don't have time to make pizza.
Did I say anything about making pizza? It's frozen. See? Gino's.
Gino's? I didn't know they made a frozen pizza.
It's right there in the freezer section. You think Gino's wouldn't make a frozen pizza that bakes in 10 minutes for people in a hurry?
Oh, Harry, be tender.
Of course it'll be tender. I'm gonna put it in the oven right now.
I hope you do, Harry. It's getting pretty cold against my back.
And there you have it. One of those classic commercials that just, I didn't know that Robert Reed was actually in that and before the Brady Bunch. Shows you what you got to do to get into the TV world back in the 60s and 70s, folks. Well, welcome back here. Let's go ahead and look at our articles of the weekend that came about. Speaking of which, the first one I'd like to share with you is a teacher adopts her 2 students. Interesting. Yeah, Chelsea Haley was just 22 years old and teaching her first year in a low-income Louisiana school when she met Jerome, a 12-year-old fourth grader whose behavioral issues and academic struggles were so challenging They nearly made her quit teaching altogether. Instead of giving up, Chelsea decided to look deeper and discovered that Jerome's difficulties stemmed from an unstable home life filled with tragedy and constant upheaval that had left both him and his baby brother Jace without security every child deserves. Well, when Jerome's mother, overwhelmed by loss and poverty, asked Chelsea to take both boys with her once she planned to return to Georgia, the young teacher made a decision that would transform all their lives forever. At just 24 years old, Chelsea became a single mother to both Jerome and his little brother Jace, using money from her retirement fund to buy them a house and taking on multiple jobs to support her new family. The transformation was remarkable, as Jerome, who had been suspended frequently and was failing academically, blossomed into an honor roll student who now reads bedtime stories to his adoptive mother every night. Chelsea's sacrifice and unconditional love proved that sometimes the most important lessons happen outside the classroom, and that family isn't always about biology, but about choosing to show up for the people who need you most. Today, Chelsea says there are no words to describe the joy of celebrating Jerome's achievements, knowing that he will always had the potential and just needed someone to believe in him and provide the stability and confidence he needed to succeed. Happy News Network with that great story. Wow. And that's where we're going to get a lot of our positive stories from, the Happy News Network. Yeah, there is a Happy News Network. There's a Good News Network out there. Just type in Good News Network and you'll find what we're looking at. These particular stories do exist. They are real and not made up. Wow, let's take a look at the next one. Let's see. Let's look at some other ones here. There's a lot of stories going on. Okay, let's look at this one since we're focusing on the first day of school here. So how about the surprise visit that shows why teachers changed the world? Let's go to that article. Pull it up. Yeah. Mrs. Patricia Williams thought she was just having another ordinary day at Riverside Elementary School when a tall man in a suit walked into her classroom with a bright smile somehow she recognized. After 28 years of teaching, she had touched countless young lives, but she never expected any of them to track her down decades later to say thank you. Well, the visitor was David Chen, now a successful pediatrician who had been searching for his beloved third grade teacher ever since graduating from medical school. And because he wanted to know her, and she was the reason he became a doctor. David remembered how Mrs. Williams noticed he struggled with reading and stayed after school every day for 3 months to help him catch up, never once making him feel embarrassed or stupid. Her patience and encouragement transformed not just his academic performance, but his entire self-confidence, setting him on a path that eventually led to him healing children as a career. When David presented her with a photo from his medical school graduation and a heartfelt letter describing her impact, Mrs. Williams broke down in tears, finally understanding the true power teachers have to shape the future. The emotional reunion, captured on video by the school principal, went viral and inspired thousands of people to reach out to their own life-changing educators with messages of gratitude. What a story. Wow. Fantastic. I like stories like that, and that's great. All right, let's look at something else here. How about, all right, here's an interesting one in the science field. Scientists discover why this diet protects the brain. You know, for years, scientists have known that the Mediterranean diet reduces dementia risk, but a groundbreaking new study has finally revealed that fascinating reason why this food combination is so powerful for brain health. Researchers from Rush University Medical Center analyzed the post-mortem brains of 809 people and discovered that those who followed the MIND diet, a combination of Mediterranean and DASH eating patterns, showed significantly less damage to their hippocampus, the brain region crucial for memory, learning, and navigation. While that diet emphasizes vegetables, whole grains, fish, and poultry, while limiting dairy, red meat, and fried foods, creating a nutritional powerhouse that appears to specifically protect brain neurons from dying off. This research represents the first human study to directly connect diet choices with hippocampal health, providing concrete evidence for why certain foods seem to guard against cognitive decline. The hippocampus is intimately linked to dementia and Alzheimer's disease, and damage to this area often signals the beginning of memory problems and cognitive deterioration. Scientists believe the anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties of Mediterranean diet foods may be creating a protective shield around brain cells, preventing the kind of neural damage that leads to memory loss. Well, while more research is needed to understand the exact mechanisms, this discovery offers hope that something as simple as changing what we eat for dinner could significantly impact our brain health as we age. Fanatical story. Maybe we should switch over to that Mediterranean, or what they call the Jesus diet. It's what Jesus ate. All right. The 22,000 computers that are changing everything for blind Americans. Yes. In a world where screens dominate our daily lives, a Dallas-based nonprofit called Computers for the Blind is ensuring that vision loss never becomes a barrier to digital independence by transforming donated computers into life-changing tools for thousands across America. The organization refurbishes computers and equips them with powerful accessibility software like JAWS, which converts text to speech, and Zoom Text, which magnifies screen content, creating gateways to independence that would otherwise be financially out of reach for many. For recipients like Antoinette McDonald Ellis, receiving one of these specially equipped computers was nothing short of transformational. When she first turned it on and heard it speak to her, she felt like she grew 3 or 4 inches with newfound confidence. The nonprofit has shipped nearly 22,000 computers nationwide, with each one making a significant difference in someone's life by providing not just hardware, but comprehensive training and ongoing support that ensures users can navigate the digital world with confidence. Employee Marcy Duty, that's her name, Marcy Duty, who is completely blind herself, understands the impact firsthand and plays a key role in helping ship these computers across the country, knowing that each delivery represents freedom, opportunity, and connection for someone who might otherwise be excluded from today's tech-driven society. The organization's mission extends far beyond providing equipment. It's about restoring a sense of community, creativity, and belonging for people who are often underserved in our fast-paced digital world. As Ellis beautifully expressed, these computers don't just provide technology, they provide the ability to go and feel like I'm part of this world in the 21st century. Yeah, and that's for sure. She's right, definitely. We're going to be back with some more positive news. In fact, we'll be back with the news of the weird. Sometimes it's negative, sometimes it's positive, but whatever the case, we will definitely have a news of the weird when we come back right after these important messages.
Gravity was easy to solve, but could Newton have solved Rubik's Cube? Rubik's Cube, over 3 billion combinations, but just one solution.
Hey, Jerry, what's the story?
You want a party, you want to dance, you want a great night out, come on down to Jerry's Disco.
But, Jerry, what's the story?
Unbelievable lights, unbelievable sound, giant dance floor, really big drinks, and a dime. Talk about atmosphere, in other words. See for yourself. The party starts every night at 9, and I'll be here waiting for you.
That's the story, Jerry!
That's the story!
In the past, Action Park gave you spectacular rides and fabulous entertainment. But hold on to your bathing suit, because there's more, lots more. Now, Action Park brings to the world the brand new, awesome Roaring Springs. Spread out over 6 acres, Roaring Springs has got it all. It's got cliff diving, air slides, caves, rapids, waterfalls. It's even got an underwater river. But most of all, it's got action.
great meats.
Great dairy.
Great deli treats with great specials too.
This week, Foodtown Soda, all flavors, regular and diet, 59 cents. And Morton's Fried Chicken, 2-pound package, only $1.99.
Great reasons for coming to town. Foodtown.
Okay, we're back. Quick, as they say in the commercial world here, 2 minutes for each commercials break. We're ready to go with our news of the weird from, of course, the editors at Andrews McMeel Syndication for the week of September 5th, 2025. And, of course, uexpress.com. The lead story, inexplicable. Perhaps it was the stress of speaking in front of others. Perhaps it was just a call to a higher Michael Jackson. On September 2nd in Cranford, New Jersey, resident Will Thilly, that's his name, Will Thilly, appeared at a town hall meeting to ask questions about a recent property tax hike, WABC TV reported. But before he uttered a word, he performed a wordless robot dance without music and spun on the floor. Then he asked, "How was everyone's weekend?" He went on to ask a few simple, specific questions about taxes and school expenses, then gathered his papers from the podium and moonwalked back to his seat. And Thilly is a candidate for the Cranford Township Committee. "I hope to bring a friendly, stress-free way of our committee when dealing with the public," he said on his website. Here's a fail for you. Hopes were dashed into the sweet winds on October 2nd as the Dolce Vento was launched into the water off the coast of Zonguldak, Turkey, the New York Post reported. Yeah, Zonguldak. The $1 million 85-foot yacht slipped into the water and almost immediately started listing to its port side before sinking. The new owner, captain, and 2 crew members were able to jump overboard and swim to the nearby shore without injury. Shipyard officials said the cause of the sinking was under investigation. Sure. How long is the investigation, gentlemen? Registered sex offender, 46-year-old Rodney Platte, has been working at a pet store in Clearwater, Florida, the Smoking Gun reported. His job is to wear an inflatable puppy costume and stand outside the store to lure in pet lovers. But on August 29th, Platte and the store owner got into it with several juveniles riding by on bicycles. It wasn't their first beef with the kids, and as one of them tried to ride away, Platte approached the victim from behind and placed him in a chokehold, police said. The victim told police he couldn't breathe for a brief period. Platte was arrested for battery and strangulation and ordered to have no contact with the victim. He posted a $10,000 bond. This week's winner of Best Name for a Credit Card Fraud suspect is Alec Bogus, 33, of Aurora, Colorado. Bogus gets bonus points for his attempted escape from law enforcement on August 26th, when he was approached at the Indian Hot Springs Resort in Idaho Springs, Colorado. According to CBS News, Bogus, who also had an outstanding felony warrant from Douglas County, was just exiting the mud bath wearing only a Speedo when officers arrived. He ran up a wooded mountainside and tried to hide in a shed, but he was recovered a short time later, still covered in mud. His charges included assault on a peace officer and resisting arrest. Indianapolis-based bankruptcy attorney Mark S. Zuckerberg is suing Meta, the company of Mark E. Zuckerberg. Wow, we've got 2 different ones. The only difference is their middle initial, because the former's Facebook page keeps getting shut down, WTHR-TV reported on September 4th. It's not funny, the attorney said. Meta has been accusing him of impersonating a celebrity and using a false name, which I've had way longer than he has, he said. I'd rather not pick a fight with them, but I don't know how else to make them stop. He said his business account has been removed 5 times and his personal account 4. It's not right and they need to stop, he said, and so they have. Meta confirmed that Zuckerberg's account is back up after being disabled in error. A court in Germany has ruled that an unnamed teacher who has been on sick leave for 16 years must prove that she is ill. Wait a minute. If she's been, well, hold on here. If she's been sick for 16 years, what more proof do you need? Well, Metro News reported on August 23rd, and since 2009, the female teacher has been drawing her full salary in spite of not working at all. And when the Education Authority in North Rhine-Westphalia demanded that she take a medical test, she sued. Well, sure. But the court called her case truly incomprehensible and ruled that the employer had the right to call for the test. Andreas Bartisch, president of the state's teachers union, called her behavior completely abysmal. The woman's been sick for 16 years. What more proof do you need? And as if this test is not going to prove that she's not feeling well and not well enough to be teaching. Maybe she should retire with full compensation, don't you think? Well, 27-year-old Nicholas Holes of Harzburg, KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. Talk about pronunciation. He was camping at Cape Vidal Nature Reserve in St. Lucia on August 30th when he got unexpected overnight visitors. Holes was there with his dad and others for a bachelor party, People magazine reported. After settling in his tent, he woke up to two hyenas attacking him, one focused on his face, the other on his ankle. I fought them off by attacking the eyes of one and forcing my hand down the throat of the other, Holes said. His dad heard him screaming and rushed him to a hospital where doctors say a full recovery will take about a month. I'm doing a lot better. The doctors are happy with my progress. Thank God. I guess that's one way you fight off a hyena. You rub out its eyes and you choke them through till they can't breathe. What else can you do? You got to fight them off. Well, police in Canton, Connecticut are searching for the owners of a silver urn containing cremated remains that was left along a running trail near the Canton Department of Public Works. WFSB-TV reported on September 4th. Authorities report that they tried to open the urn, but it appears to be sealed shut. Officers hope whoever misplaced the object will come forward to retrieve it. Over the Labor Day weekend, hikers on Huron Peak in Colorado got a special surprise when they reached the summit of the 14,000-foot-plus mountain, the Associated Press reported. Seated in a camping chair wearing an ice cream cone costume and sunglasses with a fake mustache was an unnamed man who had hauled up ice cream sandwiches in a pack with dry ice. One hiker dubbed him Legendary Dairy for rewarding climbers with the sweet treat. Ice cream was just kind of what we wanted, said Blaine Griffin. Griffin said he saw the man zooming down the mountain once the ice cream was gone, sans costume. There you have it, friends. News of the weird. And yes, they do their job great. The editors at Andrews McMeel Syndication have once again come through, and sure enough, they will continue to write and take over what Chuck Shepard did some 40 years ago. In fact, we'll be doing a great biography of Chuck Shepard. I aim to do some great information on him, and I would hope one day he's listening to how wonderful his work has really been. And we thank him for all that he started some 30, 40 years ago. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll look at that first of the real reason the school year doesn't start in January. We'll be right back with more of The Positive Vibe right after this.
The best-selling #1 trash bags in America are Glad trash bags. Unfortunately, some people are still experimenting with bargain bags. Look how a Glad regular trash bag resists punctures past the average point where most bargain bags fail. Glad trash bags are strong, puncture-resistant, and haul trash for more people than any bag sold. Yes, we're #1. We're tough, and we're Glad.
Hey, Fred, give me a pizza with extra cheese.
Extra cheese.
And hold the tomato sauce.
Hold the tomato sauce.
And hold the crust.
Hold the crust. Hey, Jimmy, give me a cheese with nothing.
Nothing? Now you can have the best part of the pizza without the pizza. Polly-O string cheese, all natural, individually wrapped cheese snacks.
Is this what you want?
Bellissimo. Magnifique.
C'est bon.
Try Polly-O string cheese. It's the best part of the pizza.
You meet the wildest cats on Broadway.
New York is all lit up for your vacation. Come, have a dazzling time. Call toll-free 800-554-3600 for package tours and information, or see your travel agent.
I love New York at night. You never know who might appear.
I love New York.
These newfangled potato chips are made of dehydrated potatoes, vegetable shortening, mono and diglycerides, salt, with ascorbic acid and BHA added to preserve freshness.
Wise potato chips are made from potatoes, vegetable oil, salt.
The newfangled potato chip or Wise old-fangled potato chips? You decide. Wise potato chips, naturally delicious.
Oh, I love the overlay there, as you can see. Welcome back to the Positive Vibe here. It is Monday, September 8, 2025. This is the first show, and we're working out the bugs, as they say. First article up on the board, since this is back to school week. The real reason the school year doesn't start in January. Wow. And here's an interesting article by Joanne Lagori. This was updated on July 29th of this year from the Reader's Digest. I always was wondering and curious why the school year don't start in January. But then again, it's something that just slips the mind when we just talk about it. Yeah, so why does school start in the fall? There's actually a very good reason for this, and it dates back more than a century. It always feels like the year has two new beginnings, doesn't it? The first one is obviously when the new calendar year begins in January and we say goodbye to the previous year. The second is when a new school year starts in the fall or late summer, depending on where you live in the country. It's a little weird though, right? Why does school start in the fall and why doesn't the school year line up with the calendar year? How did late August, early September become the default time of year for the start of school? To find out, Reader's Digest spoke to renowned educational researcher Thomas R. Guskey. He's a PhD. He's a professor emeritus in the College of Education at the University of Kentucky. Read on to learn something interesting and maybe even impress your kids. So why does school start in the fall? Here's a great picture. I love that. School generally starts in the fall because the school year dates back to when the farming schedule took precedence over everything else. Yes, even school. When our first compulsory education laws were passed just before the Civil War, we were pretty much in an agrarian society, says Guskey. So there was this concern that children needed to be home to help out with farm duties, especially during the growing season. So schooling in areas with large farming communities took place in the colder months when nothing could be planted or harvested. That way, kids were able to help with the livestock and other farm duties during the busy time. Districts would organize schooling around local needs. Schools in areas with large fall harvests, for example, would have time off in September and October. And it should be noted that prior to 1890, students in major urban areas were in school almost year-round, attending classes between 251 and 260 days per year, punctuated by a few short breaks. Why? Those cities didn't rely on farming to make a living. As education gained importance, the school system needed more structure and uniformity. In 1852, Massachusetts became the first state to enact a compulsory public education law, making it mandatory for both rural and urban areas to offer schooling. Parents who didn't send their children to school were fined. Yeah, see, Those fines have gone back even back to the 1800s. So the idea of parents not keeping up with their students and their children's education has backfired a lot, even back in those later centuries. It was because of the work of people like Horace Mann, Guskey explains, in England, where you had this hierarchy of status. Education was for the well-to-do and royalty. And the idea was that here, where all men are created equal, a common system of education was considered to be necessary for all. By about 1900, a compromise was made between urban and rural school systems to run at the same times of the year, starting around Labor Day and ending around Memorial Day, formerly known as Decoration Day. That way, kids could help on the farm during the summer while still receiving a standard education. In terms of the number of mandated days in the school year, 180 days is pretty much the go-to across the states, says Guskey. But that does vary from state to state and in some cases among districts within the state. Colorado has lowest minimum number of required school days in the nation with 160. Kansas has the most with 186. So why does the school year start earlier in southern states? And for me living in Florida, well, here's the answer to the question I've been wondering about for 30 years of being here in Florida, a native New Yorker, as you probably are aware of. Not to go off topic, but I'm finally going to get the answer to the question, and I don't even have kids to send off to school. The school year starts earlier in the South for one very practical reason, because it gets hotter earlier in the year. Well, there you go. They try to avoid the hottest times of the year, says Guskey. Hot summers in the South mean many schools aim to end classes in May before the peak of June and July heat and then start up again in August. Also, keep in mind, the modern convenience of air conditioning that we take for granted didn't exist. So ending earlier was once a practical necessity, and then the calendar stuck. Yeah. So many countries like Canada and much of Europe start the school year in the fall like the U.S., but others follow different academic calendars based on geography and climate. Australia, for example, starts its school year in late January after the summer season ends down under. Other countries in the southern hemisphere like South Africa, Argentina, Brazil, and New Zealand start school around the same time between January and early March. We were the first to implement mandated compulsory education, says Guskey, but other nations took that model of mandatory education and bumped it up several levels. Internationally, we are behind the rest of the world in terms of what number of days we do require. Canada, France, and the United Kingdom are similar to the U.S. with 180 to 190 days. Australia has 200, and Japan mandates between 220 and 240. No wonder why they're so smart in Japan. Guskey adds that many of the Asian nations and some European nations divide the school year differently so that instead of having 1 3-month period off, they break it up and have 3 1-month breaks. In the UK, for example, the academic year is divided into 3 terms: fall, which is September to December, spring, January to Easter, and summer, April to July. Regardless of when the extended break in the school year takes place, what concerns Guskey and other educators is summer loss. The academic skills kids lose being away from school during the summer. You may also hear this referred to as the summer slide. Summer loss tends to be greater in some subject areas than others, Guskey says. Kids who come from homes that are literacy rich, where there is reading material around and things like that, don't lose quite as much in terms of literacy as kids who come from a more disadvantaged background. Math skills tend to be kind of universally dropped during the summer, he notes. It makes sense when you think about it. Maybe a kid will pick up a book in the summer on her own, but she's probably not going to sit on the beach doing addition and subtraction. So even though most kids today spend their summers at the pool, glued to video games or dodging chores, not helping harvest crops, they have the farming season to thank for those 3 months of summer freedom. It may not make perfect sense anymore, but hey, if it gets you a break from algebra, who's complaining? Yeah. There you have it. And there are your sources. And we're going to be looking at that article later on of why school buses are yellow. But coming up next, later on in our program, of course, we're going to be looking at, if I can get the banners up, the next one will be 7 old school classes kids don't take today. Yeah, that's something that the curriculum really has changed over the course of the time that even when I was in high school, didn't even think about that. We'll be back with that article right after these very important messages.
We're gonna get you over a barrel, so get set to have a barrel of fun. Cause when you tap a barrel head root beer, you get your thirst right over and done. You get a real rich, creamy head, so nice. A draft style flavor that stands up to eyes. So get your thirst over a barrel head, America, and have a barrel of fun. Get your thirst over a barrel head, America.
It's the Kmart Polaroid U.S. All-Pro Funny Car Championship. 32 funny cars. See the Wild Burnout Competition. California's John Brute Force. The Kmart Motivator. Black Magic. The 5-second Skull Bandit. 32 funny cars. See the super fast Spitfire and Mirage jet-powered funny cars going for the speed record. See all the funny cars line up at the same time, California style. Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock at Old Bridge Township Raceway Park, 2 miles north of Englishtown, New Jersey.
Come on along, I'll take you to the lullaby of Broadway. Hickory and Ballyhoo,
The lullaby of Broadway.
and in the center of it all
Is the Milford Plaza.
Stay at the Milford Plaza Hotel with cocktail dinner and breakfast for $43 per person. Discover why we are the lullaby of Broadway.
The Milford Plaza is the lullaby of all Broadway.
Who says Yoo-Hoo's just for kids? Yoo-Hoo's for anyone who likes a delicious chocolate drink made with nourishing low-fat milk. Get Yoo-Hoo from Iroquois Brands.
When you're at Pathmark #1, you're the one who's #1.
Look for this circular in Sunday's paper for super coupon bonanza savings like these. A half-gallon Tropicana orange juice, $1.39. A dozen Pathmark large eggs, 69 cents. And a half-gallon of Pathmark premium ice cream, $1.39. Come to Pathmark Super Coupon Bonanza, where you're the one who's #1 24 hours a day.
Pathmark #1.
Yes, welcome back to the Positive Vibe. I hope you're enjoying this show as much as I'm enjoying giving it to you. Wednesday on the program, we hope to look at some more great stuff for back to school and get you guys on your way here. If you would like to be on the program and talk about a story that has positively influenced you, or to be a positive overseer, as they say, drop us a line here at, of course, Jay's All TV channel. And, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're here for you. We're currently sitting at 140 subscribers. Thank you so much. We gained about 20, I want to say we gained 12 subscribers over the summer. When we last left with the Wipe Those Tears, which, by the way, is starting its 3rd season, Wednesday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, me and the Tear Masters will be back at it to look at some new, and I mean new stuff. We finished the NES games, so we're going to be moving on to different things. We said we were. You're just going to have to tune in and see what's going to happen. Be live at 9 p.m. Eastern time, season 3 of Wipe Those Tears. All right, now let's go ahead, look at the next article, which is 7 old school classes kids don't take today. I looked at my curriculum at Christ the King Regional High School, and I remember taking courses that pertain to all of the, reading, writing, arithmetic, and all that, history, science, religion, those classes. Now, today, that curriculum is non-existent. So here's an article that proves that today's kids just don't have those old school classes. Allison Caparimo wrote this article on July 18th of this year. She said, schools still teach basics like math, science, history, and English, but there are plenty of old school classes kids today will never take. There was a time when school smelled like chalk dust and pencil shavings, and if it was shop class day, maybe a little sawdust too. The schedule was packed with old school classes kids don't take today. Some were practical and some were just plain strange, but all of them stuck with us. Ask your kids about them now, and you'll probably get a blank stare. Over time, these subjects have quietly disappeared as education succumbed to modern demands and focused more on test scores and tech skills. We're a nostalgic bunch, so we're taking you back to school to revisit some lost lessons that helped shape a generation. Which ones do you remember? Typing. Yeah, you recall the days of plugging the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog into a keyboard or even on a typewriter again and again. Nowadays, kids' fingers get enough flexing from texting and typing on their tablets and laptops. Many of them can type at lightning speeds without any training and know how to use technology before they can even talk. Yeah, I took a typing course in senior year of high school. That was the first time I was able actually to get my fingers on the keys and be comfortable with them. Home economics. Yeah, your son or daughter won't be donning an apron during the school day anytime soon. Cooking, cleaning, hygiene, and other family-oriented classes are few and far between at high schools around the United States. Some schools still teach it under names like family and consumer sciences, but you won't find the old familiar home ec anymore. Penmanship. Yeah, remember the hours spent dutifully practicing handwriting at your desk or the chalkboard? Maybe you even received a penmanship award. No longer, at least not in the same way. Many schools shunned cursive instruction, although altogether in the 2010s, as more tech-heavy classes took root, making this one of the clearest examples of old school classes kids don't take today. But cursive might be making a comeback. In 2023, California started requiring the lost art again in 1st through 6th grade. Other states followed suit, and 24 states currently require some form of cursive instruction, up from only 14 in 2016. Latin. Yeah, being able to study Latin as your second language in high school used to be commonplace in the 60s and 70s. Over time, it slowly started to disappear from schools, and students were only given the option to study French or Spanish. Since Latin is no longer spoken, it's hard to find teachers to teach the subject and students who want to learn it. That said, this isn't one of those old school classes kids don't take today anywhere. Some schools still teach it, and many students take it in hopes of improving their SAT scores. Shop. Well, now, no, this wasn't a class that taught you how to shop online. Students in the past took shop, short for workshop, classes to learn basic carpentry and mechanical skills. Can you imagine the waiver parents would have to sign today if their children were working with saws and hammers? It would never happen. Schools want the curriculum to focus on improving test scores rather than learning new trades, but some schools are working to combine the two by incorporating technology such as 3D printers into their shop classes. Library. Yeah, schools today still have libraries, but they're filled with more computers than books. You were probably given multiple lessons on how to navigate the Dewey Decimal System to find the exact book you wanted. Now, students are able to find information a lot faster using a quick internet search. Life skills. Yeah. Kids might leave high school knowing how to find the square root of an imaginary number, but they don't have basic life skills such as setting a budget, navigating student debt once they get out of college, and taking out a mortgage for a house. These basic skills used to be part of the high school curriculum, but it isn't seen in many schools today. However, people are starting to realize the importance of learning life skills at a young age. And some schools are starting adulting classes that teach you about budgeting, time management, how to handle conflict in a relationship, and many more useful topics. And there you have it. Oh, great job. Those are some of the classes. That was 7 of them. And I think that kind of sums it up as to how far we've come from the notion that, things are just not the way they were some 30 years ago, even 40 years ago. Times are changing, folks, and we've got to get on the path to moving forward. Technology, AI, God willing. Can we get it right? Is it going to be helpful to us instead of hurting us? Will it be able to work with us to keep jobs in the workforce, or will we have to rely on it solely to be the prime thing that makes jobs what they are in the near future? One will only find out over the course of time. When we come back, we'll look at that final article, which is, here's the real reason why school buses are yellow. You'll get that answer when we come back with more of the positive vibe right after this.
Every day's a sale day at Mays.
This spring, dress smart in fashions from Mays. Girls skirt sets with blazer and bow blouse or blazer and vest, only $15. And girls skirt and blazer sets with detailed stitching and suede elbow patches, just $11. Or three-piece pantsuits with two-button blazer and vest, only $15. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Mays.
Every day's a sale day at Mays.
You know that Crazy Eddie has the largest selection and the guaranteed lowest prices. But there's a more important reason why you should only buy from Crazy Eddie. Crazy Eddie services everything he sells in his own factory-authorized, professionally staffed service centers. There's one in each Crazy Eddie store, completely equipped to handle any problem you might have with your stereo system, color TV, video recorder, or camera, or anything else you buy from Crazy Eddie. So remember, when you buy from Crazy Eddie, you buy with confidence, because Crazy Eddie is a lot more than just prices that are insane.
I'm a hairdresser in Ohio, but I'm a beachcomber in New York.
I love New York.
I'm a tugboat skipper in Nova Scotia, but I'm a wine sipper in New York.
I love New York.
New York is a summer wonderland. Call now for your free vacation guide and discover a whole new you.
I'm a star on Broadway, but in New York, I'm just part of the scenery. I love New York.
Now you can ride the rainbow to Trump's Castle Hotel and Casino on the Marina in Atlantic City. And you know what's waiting at the end of the rainbow.
It's the night of thrills, Wednesday night. The 200-mile-an-hour flame-belching Shockwave Peterbilt. Wild 250-mile-an-hour funny cars. Coca-Cola Cavalier. Black Magic. Hawaiian Punch. The USA 1 Corvette. The Knight Raider Chevy Rebellion wheelie cars at 140 miles an hour. Jet funny cars at 260 miles an hour. See the wild burnout contest. Plus the Masters of Disaster flaming 20-car jump with no landing ramp. It's the night of thrills. Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. At Old Bridge Township Raceway Park, 2 miles north of Englishtown, New Jersey. Get there early because it's going to be insane.
You ever wonder why school buses are colored yellow? Remember when you were a kid taking the school bus to school and you wondered to yourself why all the buses that you were riding on were yellow buses or slightly looked like they were colored like a yellow orange? Well, we've got the real reason, and Sonny Fitzgerald is going to give us that reason. This was on July 31st of this year. Well, have you ever wondered why they're yellow? There's a very good reason for this cheery color choice. So if you live in the United States, there's a high chance you've seen a yellow school bus. Heck, you probably even rode on one at some point in your life. After all, there are 480,000 of them across the country, and they've been around for decades, and they're all the same color. But why are school buses yellow rather than another eye-catching color like those bright pink taxis you might find in other countries? We were curious, and we're guessing you are too now. And while we spoke with Jonathan Marquez, he's a commercial vehicle training instructor who is well-versed in the history of buses to get to the bottom of this color choice. Read on to find out why school buses are yellow, the interesting history behind this decision, and whether that ubiquitous color might get a makeover someday. Well, school buses are the same color to make them easily recognizable to other drivers. Before 1939, Marquez says, there was no standard for school transportation. A century ago, children traveled to and from school in whatever transportation was available in their area. Some kids rode buses, others were transferred in trucks, and still others went to school in horse-drawn wagons. Back when school transportation came in all shapes, colors, and sizes, it was difficult to distinguish which vehicles were transporting school children. Drivers wouldn't immediately know that they'd be passing a school bus and should therefore proceed carefully. Marquez says, so the risks of accidents was higher. Frank Sear, a rural Nebraska native and a professor at Columbia University Teachers College, recognized the need for standardization to improve safety and also to save some money. Many rural districts, like the one Sear was originally from, were often underfunded. They needed to save money where they could. Marquez explains, by standardizing aspects like paint color, the manufacturers would be able to save money and could then pass that savings on to the school districts, putting the purchase of safer, standardized buses within reach. Then in the late 1930s, Sear received a $5,000 grant from the Rockefeller Foundation and brought together experts to brainstorm solutions for these issues. Paint was a big topic of debate, but in the end, yellow was chosen, and dozens of shades of yellow were under consideration, ranging from lemon yellow to deep orange red. Deliberations carried on for 7 days, and ultimately the group opted for the yellow that's still in use today. Sear's efforts changed history, and he was dubbed the father of the yellow school bus. But bright yellow was chosen because it stands out in early morning and afternoon light. These are the times kids are usually picked up and dropped off, Marquez says. Plus, black letters are easy to read on it. The color of school buses is easy for our eyes to see because it falls right in the middle of the colors that trigger red and green parts of our vision. Our eyes have special cells called cones that help us see color, and the red and green ones, or cones, are the most common, Marquez explains. If a color like green only triggers one type of cone, your brain gets a certain amount of signal. But if a color hits both red and green cones, the signal is about twice as strong. And that's exactly what you want in the case of school buses, a color that prompts a strong response. The yellow used on school buses does exactly that, which makes it super noticeable to our eyes. Our eyes also notice this hue before other colors, including red, in our peripheral vision. Now you know why school buses are yellow, but do you know what the specific shade is called? The original name was National School Bus Chrome, a reference to the lead-based paint that was made with hexavalent chromium. As the hidden dangers of lead paint became better understood and the federal government banned lead paint for consumer use in 1978, it was time to move away from using lead paint and the name. To disassociate from the lead paint origins, the United States General Services Administration calls the color National School Bus Glossy Yellow, or color 13,432 in the Federal Standard 595A color section, Marquez says. Can any yellow be used for a school bus? Well, school bus color is not legislated, so any yellow could be used. Despite what you would expect, there is no federal regulation dictating that school buses must be National School Bus Glossy Yellow, Marquez says. However, as part of the 2009 Highway Safety Program guideline number 17, they do recommend that buses be painted that specific shade of yellow. So while another color could be used, National School Bus Glossy Yellow continues to be the chosen one, or continues. States have chosen to keep the standard yellow partially for safety reasons and partially for branding reasons, Marquez says, and like the black cabs in London so that drivers can immediately recognize the vehicle as a school bus. Other options were considered when choosing the color of school buses, but none proved as popular as yellow. There were some people who wanted to paint the buses red, white, and blue to instill a sense of patriotism in the children, Marquez says, but that was voted down pretty quickly. A yellow-green or a green-blue may be a better color for school buses, given what we now know how our eyes perceive light. When the National School Bus Glossy Yellow was chosen, there wasn't a full understanding of how our eyes use rods and cones to see color, Marquez explained. If the same convention was assembled today to choose a standard color, a yellow-green like chartreuse would or is that right? Chartreuse would be chosen. And this is the most visible color to the human eye. However, it could also be a more of a green-blue color that is more visible to people in lower light situations where you really want the bus to stand out for safety reasons. But it's possible, but not very likely given how ubiquitous and well-established it is. I don't think the yellow school bus will ever change because it's so universally or recognized as a school bus, Marquez says. You can see a school bus from miles away, and instantly you'd know it's a school bus. It's the ultimate in branding, just like the most famous company logos. Plus, the standardization of school buses, including their color and size, was incredibly effective. And according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, school buses are the most regulated vehicle on the road and one of the safest. The bottom line, there's no need to fix something that's not broken, especially when it would be costly, as Marquez notes. The logistics and expensive painting the almost 500,000 school buses in the U.S. would not be worth the insubstantial safety gains. There you go. Well, there's your reason. And you got it courtesy of Sonny Fitzgerald. She is good. And thank you to Jonathan Marquez as well, too. He really gave a great interview. And, Sonny Fitzgerald, she's a Hawaii-based writer covering travel, sustainability, culture, home health, wellness, and a whole lot more. And we'll probably be seeing her during the course of the time that we're on with this program. It is 3 minutes after the hour, and when we come back, we will give you some more positive articles, give you our daily motivation of the day, wrap up the whole thing in just about 2 minutes from now. So when we come back, more of the positive vibe right after this.
You dirty dog, bringing home fleas, but they'll be gone with Deacon Forgone. Forgone kills more than roaches, wipes out 17 kinds of bugs, including fleas. Kills fleas in carpets, furniture, and drapes. Cause Forgone is an automatic room fogger with Deacon power. Wipes out fleas in the whole room. Come back, no bad smell, and no sticky mess. Deacon Forgone, more power to you.
In Deutschland backen wir Strudel, aber in Amerika Pillsbury Toasterstrudel, Strudel zum Toasten. Oh, 16 Lagen Blätterteig mit saftiger, fruchtiger Füllung, fantastischer Glasur. Ist es auch gut? So was habe ich noch nie getoastet. Oh.
Pillsbury Toaster Strudel in your grocer's freezer.
You never toasted anything like it.
Bring it home, Dr. K.
Proud enough, strong enough, tough enough, loud enough. We're putting our hands together, making our basket better. Bring it home, let's bring it home, bring it home.
Flying high, swinging hot. Come on, guys, let's all you got. Putting ourselves into it. Together we can do it. Bring it home, let's bring it home, bring it home.
This is the year you're gonna see baseball like it ought to be. Ready, set, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, bring it home. Bring it home.
Bring it home, let's bring it home, bring it home. TV9, yeah, TV9, bring it home.
Friday night at 7:30. It's the Mets and the Giants. Don't miss it.
Bring it home.
She was coming home to the jungle and to their wild, untamed love for butter, cut down by cholesterol. Until...
Darling, look what I've brought back.
I can't believe it's not butter.
It's the premier spread flavored with real sweet cream buttermilk for a fresh butter taste, but without the cholesterol.
How civilized.
I can't believe it's not butter. The taste you love without the cholesterol.
Fabio in a commercial. Boy, you know that they were desperate to get him back in those days. I wonder what he's doing with his life right now. Well, considering that we are back on the positive vibe here in our first show, I wanted to extend a little bit of a condolences to the Johnson family. We lost last Friday a very wonderful ex-Mets manager and baseball player Davey Johnson, who passed away at the age of 82 from an illness he was battling. We were not sure what the illness is. I think they was going to get some more information once they do the autopsy. But he was a legend because he was the manager of the 1986 New York Mets, who won the World Series that year. In fact, I think he has coached and managed teams to a few World Series in his time. So he surely knows about winning in the most positive way. And the baseball world is saddened by his tragic passing this past Friday, September 5th, 2025. So we extend our condolences to Davey Johnson and his family. May you mourn and know that the baseball community loves and appreciate everything that he had done and did for baseball. Let's get some more articles up on the board here while we come into our last half hour of the program. I think it's fitting that we should look at the test that's changing cancer forever. Yeah. You know, the studies of cancer are really getting more and more in depth as we look at new technology and how to fight off diseases. Well, a revolutionary blood test is transforming cancer care by detecting multiple types of cancer from just a single drop of blood, with some versions achieving up to 95% accuracy in identifying pancreatic, ovarian, and bladder cancers at their earliest stages. Scientists at the University of California, San Diego have developed what they call Pac-Man with 2 N's. Yeah, I know. A breakthrough technology that can spot pancreatic cancer signs when the disease is still highly treatable, potentially saving thousands of lives from one of the deadliest forms of cancer. The test works by identifying specific biomarkers in tiny particles that cells release into the bloodstream, essentially catching whispers of disease long before traditional methods would detect anything. And what makes this advancement so significant is that it transforms cancer from a disease often caught too late into one that can be intercepted early when treatments are most effective. Researchers are expanding the technology to detect multiple cancer types simultaneously, moving toward a future where a routine blood draw could screen for dozens of different cancers at once. The implications extend far beyond early detection, as the same technology is being adapted to monitor how well treatments are working and predict which therapies will be most effective for individual patients. This breakthrough represents the kind of precision medicine that doctors have dreamed about for decades, where catching cancer early becomes as routine as checking cholesterol levels. Back to another article here. Let's take a look at more. I gotta kind of scoop it down there. How about, let's see. Oh, we looked at that one. Anybody want to look at snails? No, I don't think so. Here's another one on cancer. Revolutionary cancer treatment shows 82% success rate. Yeah, groundbreaking new treatment called TAR-200 has achieved remarkable results fighting bladder cancer, eliminating tumors in 82% of patients whose cancer had previously resisted all other therapies. The innovative device looks like a miniature pretzel and contains the chemotherapy drug gemcitabine, which is inserted into the bladder through a catheter and slowly releases medication for 3 weeks per treatment cycle. This revolutionary approach proved dramatically more effective than traditional treatments, which, with most patients seeing their cancer disappear after just 3 months and nearly half remaining cancer-free a full year later. What makes this breakthrough so significant is that it offers hope to patients who had exhausted all other treatment options and were facing bladder removal surgery as their only remaining choice. The slow release system allows the chemotherapy to penetrate deeper into bladder tissue over weeks rather than hours, making it far more effective at destroying cancer cells while maintaining minimal side effects. Dr. Sia Danshmand, if I said that right, who led the clinical trial at 144 locations worldwide, called it the most effective therapy reported to date for the most common form of bladder cancer. the FDA has granted TAR 200 priority review status, meaning this life-changing treatment could be available to patients sooner than typical drug approvals, offering new hope to thousands of people fighting this challenging disease. It's amazing what we can look for in the cancer treatment world, as they say. And how about something for all you pet lovers out there? Yeah, the world's largest dog agility festival gets tail wagging. Yeah, the Rutland Showground in the East Midlands became the epicenter of canine excellence as over 2,500 dogs and their handlers from 9 countries descended upon the world's largest dog agility festival. The Kennel Club International Agility Festival transformed 4 days in August into a spectacular showcase of athleticism, intelligence, and the incredible bond between dogs and their human partners. From high-speed tunnel dashes to gravity-defying jumps and intricate weaving challenges, 250 competitions across 18 rings kept spectators on the edge of their seats as dogs of every breed, size, and experience level showed off their remarkable abilities. The event welcomed everyone from elite international competitors to first-time participants, creating an inclusive community celebration that organizers described as a resounding success. And what made the festival truly special wasn't just the impressive athletic performances, but the pure joy and tail-wagging enthusiasm that filled every corner of the showground as dogs and handlers worked together in perfect harmony. The festival demonstrated that agility competitions are about as much more than winning. They're about celebrating the amazing partnership between humans and their 4-legged athletes. This incredible gathering proved that when dogs and people come together to chase their dreams, well, the result is nothing short of magical, creating memories and friendships that will last long after the final ribbon is awarded. Oh, love it. Well, let's go. We got 15 minutes before the half hour. So let's take a look at, let's see if we can find one more dog out of, okay. Let's look at Animal Wonders. This is interesting. Oh, yeah. Animals have long been recognized as remarkable beings, not only for their intrinsic beauty and diversity, but also for their profound impact on human lives and the environment. Stories of their courage, resilience, and unwavering loyalty continue to inspire and uplift people around the world. For instance, consider Balto, the sled dog who became a hero in 1925 when he led his team on the final leg of a treacherous journey to deliver diphtheria antitoxin to Nome, Alaska, saving the town from an epidemic. Such stories resonate deeply, reminding us of the bravery and dedication animals can exhibit. Moreover, animals like Cher Ami, a homing pigeon who served during World War I, demonstrate the crucial roles animals have played throughout history. Cher Ami delivered 12 important messages in Verdun during the war, including one that saved nearly 200 men of the Lost Battalion by informing Allied forces of their position and plight. These historical examples not only provide thrilling tales, but also highlight the deep trust and synergy possible between humans and animals. Beyond entertainment, these stories serve as an educational purpose, emphasizing the importance of environmental stewardship and conservation. They bring to light the crucial role each species plays in maintaining the balance of our ecosystems. For example, modern conservation efforts often highlight the work being done to save endangered species, teaching the public about the delicate interdependencies within their ecosystems and the impact of human activities on wildlife. Animals like Cairo, the military working dog, involved in the operation that led to the elimination of Osama bin Laden, exemplify how animals continue to play significant roles in contemporary human endeavors. These stories not only raise awareness about the various ways animals contribute to environmental and human health, but also inspire people to advocate for and engage in conservation efforts. But by sharing these narratives, we can foster a greater appreciation for biodiversity and motivate a collective effort to protect and preserve our planet's natural heritage. There you go. Great story. And that's probably the introduction we're looking for in the Animal Wonders section. So when you see stories of this on the Happy News Network, well, happy news, your daily dose of positivity. Good stuff. We'll look at more articles later on this week on Wednesday. So with that, we'll take a break and come back with our daily motivator of the day by a very interesting person I would like to introduce you to, who's going to be closing out our programs more and more with a fantastic motivation, as you could say, to end the day. We'll be back with our look at the motivation of the day right after these very important messages.
Johnson's Baby Oil presents softer skin.
After every shower, I put Johnson's Baby Oil on my wet skin. It mixes with the water and forms a lasting moisture seal. Don't just dry off dry. Dry off soft with Johnson's Baby Oil from Johnson & Johnson.
Pardon me, but aren't you Jimmy Randolph, who does the TV commercials for the Albert Merrill School?
That's right, I am.
How do I get to the school from here?
Oh, now show you. It's only a block away. What's your name?
Amy.
Here it is, Amy. The Albert Merrill School. This computer training center has graduated thousands of men and women for careers as computer programmers on IBM equipment, as technicians on data processing equipment, and as technicians on electronic business machines. A placement assistance service is available for graduates.
Is it possible to get government help for tuition costs?
Of course. If you qualify, you will be eligible for a government education grant, an education loan, or for veterans training benefits. Call for a free career booklet. It will be sent without cost or obligation to men and women 17 years or older. Call Circle 53900. Call now for your free booklet. Find out if you're eligible for a government education grant or loan. Call now, Circle 53900.
Hulkamania is coming.
What you gonna do when the Hulkster runs wild on you?
You'll find out if you...
Tune in this week. Search for tomorrow. Hulkamania.
What's this, a rocket?
No, it's Aquafresh in a see-through puff.
But we need something to fight plaque.
Look, new clinical evidence proves Aquafresh helps remove plaque, which can cause gingivitis. And gingivitis means red, swollen, tender gums. Fights cavities with fluoride, freshens breath, helps remove plaque in one complete toothpaste.
The best pump fights plaque, too.
Triple Protection Aquafresh, proven more complete than ever.
MasterCard, I need to do nothing.
MasterCard International.
Absolutely nothing.
So worldly, so welcome,
MasterCard, when it comes to nothing, you're really something.
International.
Well, we've come to the end of our program, as they say. A fast hour and a half, come and go. As one great philosopher always said, there's plenty of more coming, folks, so stay tuned. But we leave you with The Daily Motivator by Ralph Marston. This is a great page that we used back when we were doing DMS 3000 News. And I thought we would continue this since it is so much positive to send you off wherever you're going in the world, whether you're going to sleep because we are a primetime show, but also too, if you're heading out to work or you're heading out to wherever you're going, you know, these motivators will help you realize that life is one step forward, two steps back. And today's daily motivator for Monday, September 8th, 2025 is titled, Let Go of What You Must. Yeah, there are limits to what you can meaningfully care about, to what you can know. There are limits to what you can do and express and experience. Those limits are amazingly wide, yet they exist. In order to do anything, to know anything, to have anything in any meaningful way, you must let other things go. Let it go, you know? Just because a manageable bit of something is good doesn't mean an infinite amount of it is better. Life's richness comes from focusing on specific matters, not from injecting yourself into every matter. It's great when you say yes to opportunities, to learning, to experience, to relationships, to challenges, but it's also is necessary at times, and many times in numerous circumstances to say no. Respect the exceptional nature of your life by recognizing your limits. With a positive, creative approach, those limits can support you more than they constrain you. You have the amazing opportunity of living in the real world, a world that has limits. Let go of what you must in order to enlarge and enrich what truly matters. And there you have it, folks. Ralph Marston, the daily motivator of today and every time we come here on the show. I enjoyed it as much as you have today, and I'm glad we were able to get this first show off the ground. We'll see you on Wednesday as we talk about the headlines that happened today and tomorrow, and we'll be back at 6:30 on our regularly scheduled time for our next episode of The Positive Vibe. Till then, I'm Jason Icanio. Remember, be honest, be real, keep it simple, stupid, kiss, and don't be a nut monkey. Good night, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.